Hey, welcome. We are live and direct today with Frank Turner, who's got a show tonight at the Roxy Inn and a wonderful new album out. We'll be talking all about it. Frank, welcome to WYEP.
Thank you for having me.
I love it if you kicked us off with a song today.
I would love to do that. This is a song called Do One. Some people are just gonna hate you, no matter what you do. So don't waste your time trying to change their minds. Just be a better you. It took me years to learn this, more than I'd like to admit. But through my ups and downs, I figured one thing out: don't take anyone's lip. I'm still standing up, and there's nothing you can do. I'm still standing up. People search for your weaknesses, they'll go to any lengths. But if you find them first, you can take that hurt and turn it into a strength. You wonder why they're so unkind and how they sleep at night. But that simple fact means you're better than that. I think you're gonna be alright. I'm still standing up, and there's nothing you can do. I'm still standing up. I'm still standing up, and there's nothing you can do. I'm still standing up. It's a weird spot to choose. One less traveled, one more used. All the sticks and stones, all the broken bones. It's not who you are, it's the things you choose to do. I'm still standing up, and there's nothing you can do. I'm still standing up. I'm still standing up, and there's nothing you can do. I'm still standing up.
It's Frank Turner live and direct here at WYEP. That is the song Do One that kicks off the new album Undefeated. So I love the album, but I love the way that it starts with that song. And, you know, those lines like, some people are just going to hate you no matter what. It's so simple yet so important, I think, and beautiful and true. Like,
thank you.
It's easier to say, though, than to live.
Oh, of course. And I think that with that song, with most of the songs I write, it's more aspirational than an objective statement in terms of where I'm at. It's a reminder to myself. And as the song says, it's a lesson hard learned, you know. But I think that I've been doing this for quite a while now. And over the years, I like to think that I've figured out that spending your energy trying to kind of rebut negative energy can be a bad use of your resources, should we say.
Well, I guess I'm really glad to hear you say that you're still working it out because...
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because I was like, oh man, here comes Frank Turner. This guy's like fully realized version of himself.
Yeah, the super well-adjusted guy, right? Yeah. No, unfortunately, that's not quite the case. But you know, we're all doing our best.
And then there's a song like Somewhere in Between, which is stark and brutally honest reflection of like feeling like an imposter.
Yeah.
Which I think is so tragic. Like I have a 12-year-old daughter. I look at her. She has never been anything but her confident self.
Sure.
And then you become an adult and you're like, what am I doing?
Oh, yeah, totally. And that sort of realization that everybody's just kind of making it up as they go along. But it's a song, I mean, that song, it's just a very important song to me, actually. I'm glad you mentioned it. It's a song that sort of goes to the heart of what the record's about, which is, I think, is sort of trying to find your place in life, you know? And in many ways, I kind of fall between different stools, like both in terms of the fact that I'm 42, which is I'm not a grizzled Heritage Act veteran, and I'm not a 22-year-old in a new punk band full of spit and vinegar and that kind of thing. And similarly, excuse me, the music I make is always sort of, when I was starting out, I did shows with Mumford & Sons and also with punk bands and also with kind of indie bands like the Libertines and stuff like that. And it's just that kind of like not quite slotting in anywhere. And I'm sort of at a point in my life where it would be quite nice to figure out exactly where it is I stand.
You'll probably get there someday.
That's
Maybe.
generous of you to say.
So you produced this record.
I did.
And from what I understand, this is the first time that you've done that for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, basically, my lockdown project was to build a recording studio and figure out how to use it. I realized I needed a hobby, and the pandemic kicked in, and in the UK we had very severe lockdowns for a long time. So I spent my time tinkering with compressors and stuff. And my original plan was to record other bands, which I did a lot of. And then when it came around time to make this record, for the first time in my career, I was like, oh no, I think I'm ready to do this now. And incidentally, like one of the biggest influences on this record has been working with lots of younger, newer bands. I feel like there's a point in the life cycle of every musician when you buy a leather jacket and start holding forth about how rock music has run out of ideas. And it's a classic era. You've mistaken yourself for rock music there. The best tonic, the best restorative for that kind of feeling is to just work with younger bands and to sit. I've spent 3 years sitting on the side of the glass from a bunch of 22-year-old kids who just figured out that this chord and this chord and this chord played fast with shouting works well. And it's like, oh yeah, it really does. I don't need to overcomplicate this. So that was a big kind of factor on the record for me.
Yeah, thinking about younger kids and getting into music, I love the song that we've been playing, Girl from the Record Shop, and
Sure,
I
thank you.
love like the different shout outs in it. Like you mentioned Radiohead and Amy Winehouse
Yeah.
and my favorite Descendants record.
Oh, it's the best Descendants
It's the
record.
best.
It is the best.
Like, I mean, we're about the same age. Like, I get that there are important ones before that, but
I know,
that one
they
is
don't
the
matter
best.
as much. Everything
best.
Sucks is the best Descendants record.
It
No
is.
question.
And like listening to that song took me back to when I was just a little guy listening to Nirvana and
Sure.
discovering the Meat Puppets and the Vaselines and all these cool
Yeah.
bands.
Doing
so
kind of indie archaeology. I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
You know
So
what I mean?
do you find that it's important to try to turn people on to music that you like, or in 2024 does it even matter anymore?
Oh, I mean, well, the first thing I would say is that like it's so much easier to find music now than it was, and it's very easy for people like us to kind of get dewy-eyed about how hard it was to find bands. And I suppose you could make an argument about that kind of, you valued them more as a result. But like ultimately, it's just better. Anyone listening to this right now can go and check out the Meat Puppets or the Cro-Mags or Black Flag or whatever without any kind of barrier to entry. And I think that's better. I try and talk about bands that I like. I mean, once upon a time, somebody attempted to dismiss me as being a gateway artist and nothing more. And I thought to myself, well, that's wonderful, because the bands that were my gateways into punk rock, and for me it was Green Day. For people a few years younger than me, it was Blink-182 or whatever. That's a reputable thing to be in life. But ultimately, I mean, one of the things that I love is that both with the kind of younger bands I've been working with, and also there's a whole new kind of generation of punk rock coming up right now, and none of them really know or care anything about me, and nor should they. And I think that's great. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you should be furious and fully formed at this point in your career. So, it's nice to kind of talk about records with people, but like I enjoy watching musicians come forward who've got their own ideas.
And here's me on this side of the record, where it is literally my job to try to turn people on to new music.
But I mean, you and I both we can talk about records till the cows come home.
Yeah.
I mean, you're wearing where's that an Operation? Oh, it's
Yeah,
Grateful
so
Dead.
this is an Operation Ivy Grateful Dead mashup.
Okay,
shirt.
there we go. Well, I mean, I'm a big Operation Ivy fan.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, one of the two.
You got me.
Well, how about a couple more songs, Frank?
I would love to play a couple more songs, and in fact, I think I might play the song that we were just talking about. This is a song about going to a record shop for the first time when I was 14 and losing the ability to speak. This song is called Girl from the Record Shop. I'm in love with the girl from the record shop. Sat behind the counter in a riot girl top. And every time she looks at me, my heart just stops. I'm in love with the girl from the record shop. I've been in every day buying so much vinyl. Don't even know my own turntable. Something in a smile makes me so unstable. Oh yeah. I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love with the girl from the record shop. She's been playing the Supremes and the Four Tops. She just says her favorite record is Everything Sucks. I'm in love with the girl from the record shop. I've been in every day buying so much vinyl, don't even know my own turntable. Something in a smile makes me so unstable, oh yeah. Round and round like my heart got scratched, day after day flicking through the racks. Couldn't find my groove, I'll be back to black, amnesiac. Share heart attack, 1, 2, 3, I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love. Girl from the record shop. Cool. Another song? Yeah, sure. This is a song. This is a later in the album song, and it's a tune about my community and my tribe and my family. And it a good way of telling that story and also explain some of the lyrics. There's a British singer called John Otway, who John Otway had a big hit single in 1978. He went on British television when there were only 3 channels to play it, and about half the country tuned in and watched him fall and land on his crotch on top of one of his amplifiers whilst trying to play a guitar solo. And everyone assumed that was kind of the end of John Otway, but here we are in 2024. John Otway is still a recording, touring artist and somebody who I've played shows with and who I enormously respect, and that's my people. So this song's called Show People. Step up, kid, sign your name right here. There's pride to take in being a volunteer. It's not gonna be easy, we're all of us equal. If you give it your all, you can be show people. Can you stand on your head? Can you land on a dime? Can you find 1,000 different ways to say the same line? Can you show a crowded room the good and the evil? Do the same when it's empty, you can be show people. Can you sleep while you're sitting? Make a pillow from your shoes. Fix an engine with duct tape. Use a string for a fuse. Can you fly like Icarus? Land like Evel Knievel. We'll show you how it's done, 'cause we are show people. They called us traveling players, fools and troubadours. We did turns to the king, and they still call us whores. Sometimes we've been icons, and the plague is illegal. But we believed in our craft, 'cause we are show people. And I know you didn't want the hand that you were dealt. Let me guess that you were scorned for just being yourself. But you knew in your heart that you had something to say, and you were willing to work at it through the nights and through the days, on the skills you need to say exactly what you mean. They weren't perfect when you started. You were hungry and you were lean to be the truest version of yourself. Pass through the eye of the needle. Step right up, show them what you got. Show people, show people, show people, show people. Someday, kid, you're gonna show people. 6 nights a week, you're gonna show people. One day I promise you're gonna show people. With a matinee on Saturdays, you're gonna show people. You'll probably be disappointed, and you'll often be broke. But But in airports and at parties, you're gonna smell your own. You're more likely to be John Otway than the Beatles. But Otway's still on tour. Hats off to the show people.
It's Frank Turner, live and direct here on WYEP today. A great song called Show People. And Frank, you're a real show guy. I just read, did you officially break the record?
So, yes, we did. We broke the record. We are still going through the rigmarole of getting the certification part.
Okay.
But the preceding record was 10 shows in 24 hours in 10 different cities, which was done by a great American country singer called Hunter Hayes. However, I'm told that he used a helicopter.
Oh.
Which strikes me. It's not in the rules, but it strikes me as bad faith. No, I'm kidding. We did 15 shows in 15 cities in 24 hours.
Wow.
My tour manager, who's in the room as well, also survived and has made me promise to never try it again.
And your total number is up over 3,000 now.
We're not quite at 3,000 yet. We've got a big 3,000 show planned for February next year.
Okay.
So I have a very specific number of shows to play between now and then. Tonight's show in Pittsburgh is going to be show number 2,886, I think. Some people seem to think I know these numbers off the top of my head, but they're written on a list, which is actually on my website if people are curious.
What keeps bringing you back to the stage?
A bunch of stuff. I love it, is the shortest answer to that question. It's the one thing in life I've got some confidence I'm good at. I sort of should be by this point, otherwise it would be woeful. A very close friend of mine once said that he sees me looking more comfortable on stage than anywhere else. The other thing, and I don't want this to come across as patronizing anyway, but there were so many great musicians I started out with who were just as good, just as dedicated, just as hardworking. And luck didn't go their way, and they do other things with their lives now, and I'm the one who got lucky. It's not just luck, but there's a huge component of it, and I feel duty-bound, therefore, to enjoy it and to do it as much as possible, because that's what I know my friends want me to do.
It's very obvious watching you here today that this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I tell you, there's a huge compliment. Thanks very much, man.
So many years ago, you were in a group called Million Dead.
I was.
You've been doing Frank Turner for a lot longer than that band existed. So when I think about that, I think about other guys like Dallas Green, who used to be in Alexis on Fire. Now City and Color is way bigger than that ever was. Or like Chuck Reagan from Hot Water Music, who is arguably less beloved now on his own than he was in the band.
Sure.
So do you have a favorite musician who has kind of followed the same path or a similar path that you followed?
That's a good question. And it's interesting. When I started out playing acoustic guitar, having been in a punk band, a lot of people thought I was having a kind of psychotic episode because it wasn't an especially well-trod path. But there were two people who had gone down that road at that time, both of whom I toured with early days. One of them was Chuck Reagan, who you mentioned, who's a very dear friend of mine. The other one, who I met through Chuck, was Tim Barry. Tim was in the band Avail, classic Richmond punk band. Tim put out a country record in, I think, 2004, was his first record. And a lot of people just thought it was weird and weren't interested and all the rest of it. But it happened to coincide with the moment in my life when I was thinking about doing a similar thing. And Tim, I say this as a joke to people all the time, but it is true. When I grow up, I want to be like Tim Barry. Like, he's such a wonderful human being and a dear friend.
Yeah, I see how people could think it's weird. I remember feeling that it was weird, 25 years ago. But, while it's so different sonically, guy with guitar or raging punk band, like, there's a lot of similarities. Like, the ethos can be very much the same.
Very much so. I think that there's, I don't want to get too musicological on the radio.
You can.
Okay.
This is a music station. Go
okay,
for
there
it.
we go. What a relief. I think that there's a big thing about, a lot of punk rock is predicated on kind of youth and short-termism. And when punk rock's been going for one, possibly even two full generations, maybe even three at this point, I don't know, time keeps going. It does raise an interesting question about, like, how philosophically do you kind of approach that? If punk rock starts with a song that shouts the refrain, "No future," and that was in 1976. Right. The question becomes, well, it's 2024 and we're still playing punk music. So I think there is, I do feel like there was this kind of a period of self-examination from the punk community, and some of that took place on couches with acoustic guitars.
As a guy who writes songs that people obviously respond to and make their own, do you think or do you feel, do you know, like, can a song change the world?
Oh no, absolutely not.
No.
But a song can change a person, and cumulatively, there can be something there. There was a period in my life when I thought that Bob Dylan caused the civil rights movement, but that's because I hadn't read any history books yet. I mean, that's a glib example, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I think that culture is commentary to a degree, from the kind of broad sweep point of view. It's not to say it's unimportant, but I think that history is driven by deeper, more powerful motors. But my life was changed irrevocably by the time I listened to my first Iron Maiden cassette, and indeed then time and time again, smashed to pieces by the Dead Kennedys, smashed to pieces by the Weakerthans, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that I think that's important, and I think I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, I'm slightly allergic to grandiose statements about the value of what I do from a kind of world historical point of view, but I think that I like to think that what I do in terms of playing tonight being a good example was to establish connections between disparate groups of people, and there is some meaning in that.
Yeah, there's definitely some meaning in there, and I know that I find myself on this side of the radio. Sometimes you get tired of a song or bored with a song,
Sure.
and you think this song sucks, and then you talk to somebody, and that song really moves them, and you're like, oh, I did just need to step back for a second.
Absolutely. And for me, like, there are songs I'm going to play in my set tonight that I've played every single night since like 2005 or whatever. Not loads of them, but one or two. And, people sometimes say, doesn't that get dull? And the answer is no, because the point of performance in music, and this is why I prefer touring to recording, is that it's an interaction between the audience and the performer. It's not a sterile thing,
Mhm.
there is energy passing both ways. And for me to play a song that I wrote when I was 24 years old, and in Pittsburgh, a town that I had not even sure I'd heard of at the time that I wrote the song, and to have a room, 1,500 people sing it back tonight, which is what I'm banking on.
They will.
We'll see.
Don't worry.
That is the privilege beyond privilege,
Yeah.
and it never gets old.
You ever find yourself in, like, maybe you're just in a bad mood one day, and
Oh, sure.
like, you look out into the crowd, and someone changes it for you?
Absolutely. I love what I do. It is a job. This is my job. And everyone has bad days. It's the nature of the beast. There was a day God knows where we were, somewhere in America, and there was a guy. I have a song that's sort of about a bar I used to hang out at. And I wrote it when I was in my 20s, and there was a guy in his 60s who just had his eyes closed and tears streaming down his cheeks singing along with that song. And it was like, you are not the demographic I expected to connect with this, but I'm so glad that you did, sir, because you've just turned my evening around.
Yeah, you never know. Well, Frank Turner and his band are going to be playing at the Roxy tonight. We got a lot of high energy on the stage here today. It's going to be like 10 times that, 20 times
Oh, yeah,
that.
yeah. And I'm duty bound and honor bound to point out that we also have the wonderful Amigo the Devil, the Bridge City Sinners, and Micah Schnabel and Vanessa Jean Speckman playing as well. So it's a 4-act bill. Doors 5:30, show 6:30. There's a handful of tickets left. Am I doing well here?
Yeah, yeah, you're killing it.
Yeah. But it's going to be a great show. There's it's a high energy punk rock show.
Yeah.
It's a participation event.
Okay, so come ready to move and shout along. You can find details on that on our website, and certainly be sure to check out the new album, Undefeated. It is wonderful. Frank, would you leave us with one more song?
I would love to. I'll leave you with one more song from the new record. This is a song about a pen friend I had when I was a teenager who sent me punk rock tapes. And I just wanted to let people know, whilst this is a sad song, there's a happy ending that's happened since the song was released, which is the person that I wrote this song about emailed me about 2 weeks ago. First time I'd heard from her in 27 years. And she told me that it was her fault, not mine, that the things came to an end, which was a relief because I couldn't remember. Anyway, this song is called Letters. We used to write each other letters, such beautiful letters. And every time I see my name in a handwriting on an envelope, my day would get a bit better. I didn't forget her. How could I ever forget her? But now all that's left on my desk in the dust and neglect is some envelopes empty as ever. It's a terrible thing to share everything that you got with the one person who matters and have it not really matter. We used to write each other letters, then one day you you dried up. Just imagine you were kinda tied up. God only knows I didn't want to impose, so I just bit my tongue with a stiff lip until it was far too late for me to even contemplate writing again just to ask where you've been. So I guess we just settled on stalemate. It's a terrible thing to share everything that you got with the one person who matters and have it not really matter. We used to write each other letters. Yeah, it's a terrible thing to share everything that you got with the one person who matters and have it not really matter. We used to write each other letters. Yeah, God damn it now, this wasn't part of the plan. I let you down, but please understand, you have to bear with me if I'm messing this up, because the truth is I'm useless at opening up. Both of us know it wasn't love in the end. You were more of a teacher, a distant best friend, but missing our missives and mourning our youth. And if we got on the phone, we'd tell each other the truth and say, I'm tired of just making do, tired of just muddling through. Aren't you tired of making do, tired of just muddling through? It's a terrible thing to share everything that you got with the one person who matters and have it not really matter. We used to write each other letters, but it's a curious thing that everything that you got gets saved by a stranger you knew when you were younger. I need to write another letter. I need to try and put it better. I need to try and put it better. I started writing you a letter.
It's Frank Turner live and direct here on WYEP. Show tonight at the Roxy and the new album is Undefeated. Frank, I could sit here and talk to you all day, but I know you got things to do,
Very kind.
so
And thank you so much for having me.
we're gonna let you go. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks.